Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it in a sense, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the final day here of For Those Who Dare. I'm Vincent, and I'm going to be your host for today. And for today, we have 4 teams that made it through after battling through one of 2 open qualifiers to finally make it here on land for the finals for a chance to win their lion's share of $15,000 at the Asus HQ in Fremont, California. And you know what? All of this couldn't be possible without our sponsors, of course, so we have to thank Asus ROG, Intel, and Crucial, because throughout the day, they're going to be providing people that are alive at the venue with food, swag, giveaways. Wait, did I say giveaways? That's right. So if you're actually hanging out in the crowd, you have chances for giveaways too. So thank you to the 3 sponsors, and also, of course, for supporting the Valorant community during the off season. But it's not over yet. For those of you that are actually watching this from Twitch, well, you could also have some giveaways. So if you're watching it from any other channels outside of SOAR, you're doing it all wrong. So make sure you head on over to twitch.tv/SOAR and hit !giveaway for more information on what you can win. And I think one of them includes like a whole ass PC, including an Asus ROG Strix 4080 GeForce RTX video card. I mean, that's kick-ass. That's probably what I would do if I wasn't hosting today. So make sure you head on over to there. But without further ado, I think it's time to talk about the games today, right? So let's introduce 2 wonderful, young, strapping lads, DDK and Shift, who'll be providing the action for today. Man, that was the monologue I've ever done in my life, so thank you for coming out and saving me here. Starting off with you, Shift. It's been a while since I've seen you. It looks like your decor kind of changed in the back. Actually, I have no decor at all. What's been going on?
Yeah, I can't believe you're putting me on blast so early. Yeah, I may have moved into this place in April, but yeah, I have not put anything on the walls. I got this nice sofa back here, though. I have yet to actually sit on it, but it's there, so that's good news. And thanks for calling me young. I appreciate that. Good way to start the Saturday off.
Yeah, the other one, very young as well. I always get lost in his eyes and already lose my train of thought as soon as I start here on camera and see Dan on the screen. So, Dan, it's been a while since I had a chance to work with you as well. So, what's been going on your end?
Yeah, just hammering out the content. That's what I've been doing. Enjoying a lot of Valorant. And I mean, it's good. We're all as young as each other, which is really nice. So we'll all be able to make references that each other will understand, and that's gonna be good.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about today.
For sure. We're going to have the most boomer show today. So there's going to be a lot of like, I don't know, talks about Friends and stuff like that too that none of the Gen Z knows, or even earlier than that. Maybe we're going to have to try to like Google some anime references here and there, boys. So, but let's go through and talk about the event, at least us to how we got here, because you've been here since day one, both you, Alan and Dan, being hosting or casting. So I know you have the photogenic memory here, or photographic memory as well, Alan. So I want you to tell me like the big lines of what happened and what was the strong point of the open qualifier number 1 when you were going through here for those who dare.
Man, Open Qualifier 1 was strange, man. I'll tell you, I mean, I think the thing about it was when we saw the list of teams, which, by the way, every qualifier, the 2 qualifiers we had, you only had 1 chance to qualify. If you missed out on the first qualifier, you didn't get re-invited into the second. And so when we were looking at Open Qualifier 1, we were like, oh, we have some pretty clear-cut favorites when it comes to names on paper. In particular, Oxygen Esports is a team that barely even moved at all from challengers, and they were showing themselves as much improved. But we were really surprised because a lot of our favorites in terms of names on paper didn't quite make it into even a qualification match, let alone very far into the tournament at all. So it was really interesting, I think, just to see that these kind of well-tested veterans were being surprised by these young and up-and-comers that have been on the grindstone for the last couple of months. If you think of a lot of shout-outs to Torch Plus, they were the squad that did get to the qualifying position first in that tournament, and I'll tell you, they played with some vigor, and I wouldn't be surprised if they surprise some teams here again today.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a chance to talk about them as well, because they're definitely one of the 4 teams that made it here to the finals at the Asus headquarters. And Dan, on your end, I mean, you've casted both open qualifiers with Uber, and I remember I was trying to do a little bit of research yesterday, getting ready for today, and you had some shenanigans of matches to cast too, some knife rounds maybe, or some knife kills that were about to happen. But what were your highlights going through the open qualifiers?
Yeah, I mean, well, firstly, it's to see the established teams just seeing them doing their thing. I mean, they've been working hard during the off season, so to see that, where they're at, and of course we got to see a bit of Sunset too, which for the first time I think in the first open qualifier was quite interesting. But seeing those staple names, always good. But of course, as already mentioned, Torch, a complete newcomer team with lots of really young star talent. That was really exciting. So we get a bit of both worlds. I think we get the underdog story and the potential upsets with all of the known quantities as well. Because we we were following Moist's story in the second open qualifier, and they're very dominant. And then suddenly, as soon as they meet Total Troop, it looks like a completely different story. And that's because both teams obviously very familiar with one another, very familiar with that same level of play, which is that kind of high level challenges gameplay. So really curious to see exactly how it's going to pan out, especially for Moist today, because they looked really good in the qualifier, but they obviously didn't do so well in the Sentinels Invitational, and they've come straight from that to this. So it's going to be a tough one, I think, for them.
That's true. Bombing out from the Sentinels, flying straight to this one too. Hopefully they have a chance for redemption. But you just mentioned all the 4 teams pretty much, Dan. So for those that are visual, let's have a look at the brackets, and it will basically be our schedule for today as well. It's going to be one full day, so it's not going to be like a playoff over 2 days. We're going straight to a 3BO3, starting things off with Moist x Shopify versus Torch. And I'm going to keep saying Toronto if I'm just going to see seeing TOR. But on the other end, it's going to be Oxygen Gaming and Turtle Troop. So Alan, to start with you, anything that comes up to mind? I know you mentioned maybe some teams that were named, like XEG Reserve, that aren't here, but
yeah,
what's your BO3 that you're looking most forward to today?
It's actually this first one. I think the biggest thing about it for teams like Moist and Oxygen, as Dan was kind of mentioning, they were just in LA playing the Sentinels Invitational. That was probably some of the most structured and high-level competitive Valorant that they've played in a while, since probably Challengers. And now you're going into a very different style of team here. And I think the thing about this Torch squad was that no one was able to anticipate what they were doing in Open Qualifier 1. But for Moist, can you find a way to turn around and possibly adapt to a very different style of play from one day to the next? Going through the group stage and stuff like that through the Settles Invitational, like Dan mentioned, they didn't look particularly comfortable. And Torch is a squad that